Hey guys, welcome to the Go and Chess Trio. This is Nandhini. So this is part 2 of the Queen vs Pawn Endgames. This is part 1. If you haven't checked it out, please do check it out. So today we are going to have a look at some special cases, just a couple of examples, after which I will be putting forward a quiz. So keep calm, hit the subscribe button, stay tuned, and let's begin. So we have example number 1 on the board, and as we see, the pawn has reached the 7th rank from black side, so it's 1 square away from queening, and the black king is closer to the h1 square, the corner square, so that's a really good thing for black. But the only problem black has is the white king is too close to the pawn. So in such instances, when the white king is really close, white can win this game, and this position is winning for white. So here white can simply continue with queen e2, stopping black from queening the pawn. And if he plays the move king g1, now hoping to queen the pawn in the next move, white is going to ignore that and continue with king g3, and after f1 equals queen h2, checkmate. That's what he said. So black does have other options. For example, instead of king g1, he could try going king h1, as we already know, king in the corner square. And then if white does capture queen into f2, this will lead to a stalemate, and this is what black is hoping for. But instead, white can simply continue with queen f1 check, and after king h2, capture the pawn with a check, and after king e2, king g1, king g3, and again checkmate. So this is one option, but white has a much quicker option, and that is simply by playing the move king g3, making use of the king that's really close to the pawn. And after king g1, simply capture, and it's a checkmate. And if black queens, then just capture the queen, and it's a checkmate. Or you could also play the move queen h2, and this is also a checkmate. So this is example number 1. Let's hop on to example number 2. So here black has the h pawn, so that's a rook's pawn, and it's again on the 7th rank from black side, and it's going to queen in one move. And this position is again winning for white because the white king is very close and is in the winning zone. I will be showing you the winning zone for both the examples I've considered for, that is the rook's pawn and the bishop's pawn, just after we complete with this example. So let's directly go to it. So here white is winning by playing the move queen e2, and if black plays the move king g1, again hoping to queen, here white can simply play the move king g4, and after black queens king g3, again black doesn't have any satisfactory check. The only move which he could try for, let's say he has a tricky move over here, he could try to play the move queen f3 check, and hoping for white to play queen into f3, but this is not what we are going to do, because queen into f3 leads to a stalemate. So let's say in this position, we have to play the move king into f3, and after king h1, we have queen g2. That's a checkmate. And let's have a look at the other black options. Instead of king g1, he could have also tried king g3, trying to stop white from coming forward, and he's actually threatening to queen his pawn directly now with h1 queen. But here white can simply win by playing a move like queen f1 and going to h1 next, and we know queen in front of the pawn is winning. Or he could also try queen e4 and have the same threat. So this is example number 2. So these are the winning zones of both the examples I considered. On the left hand side we have example number 1, that was with the bishop's pawn, the f pawn, and on the right hand side we have example number 2, that is with the h pawn, the rook's pawn. Now I have just kept the queen position randomly on e8 for both the positions, because the queen position is not what we are focusing on. It doesn't really matter. What we are focusing on over here is the position of the white king and the position of the black king. Now in example number 1, as you see, the black king is on the g2 square, very close to the preferable h1 corner, because if he can manage to come to h1, then he could get a stalemate. We have already seen that. So the black king is ideally placed, and the white king is in the winning zone. Now in the example we considered, in the position we considered, the white king was on h4, and therefore he was winning. As simple as that. Now if the black king was on the other side of the pawn, for example instead of g2, if he was on the e2 square, then the winning zone will become even bigger for white. Now let's go on to example number 2. In example number 2, black has the h pawn, and the winning zone is bigger compared to the f pawn. So what we realize is, if it is the rook's pawn, that is the a or the h pawns, the winning zone is usually slightly bigger than the bishop's pawn, that is the f or the c pawns. Now it is quiz time. Let us begin. So this is position number 1, and please note that I'll be keeping just a couple of seconds between the positions. So I would advise you all to please pause the video after every position, figure out the answer if possible, write it down on a piece of paper, also write down the result, not just the variation, and after all the positions are done, anyway, we are discussing the answers. Please note all the positions are white to play. So this was position number 1. Let's go to the next. This is position number 2. Going to the next. This is position number 3. Going to the next. Now position number 4. Going to the final position number 5. So I hope you all could actually figure out all the answers, and yeah, let's straight away go to the answers now. So let's discuss the answers. This is position number 1 of the quiz, and this is winning for white. If you got this right, that's great. So white can simply play the move queen h4 check, force the king to come in front of the pawn, and then continue with king b7, and this process continues and white eventually wins the game. Let's hop on to example number 2, which we went through in the quiz. So this was position number 2, and this is a draw. So black gets a draw here because his pawn is the c pawn and it's on the 7th rank from black's side, and the white king isn't in the winning zone. It's a bit too far away, though it may look like it is close. It isn't. So this is a draw because let's say white plays queen b4, king a1, and we know that he can just sit in the corner and white can't really capture the pawn. So this is a draw. Let's go to the position number 3 of the quiz. So this is position number 3. This is probably the easiest of all the positions in the quiz, and this is winning for white. So if you got this right, then you're having a great start. White can simply play the move queen a1, and queen in front of the pawn we know is winning. So after queen a1, white can simply get his king forward, and then he just captures the pawn and he wins the game. Now please note, if this king was on the b2 square, then yes, it is a draw, even though the queen's on a1, on h1, sorry, because he can't really play queen a1 and get in front of the pawn. So let's go to the position number 4. And yeah, I hope you all scored 3 out of 3 till here. And this position is a slightly tricky one. It's a slightly on the tougher side because theoretically we know that pawn on the 3rd rank or on the 6th rank from black's side is a win for white. But we have to consider the position of the white queen. In this position, the white queen is badly placed on h1. By this I mean there's just one good check possible on the board. Let's say, one can't say good check, it doesn't really make a difference, but let's say queen g2 is played, then the pawn pushes to c2, and this is a draw. We already know that it's a c pawn, and this is a draw. The king will go to a1. So the only other possible check is, let's say, queen b7, but here black has a really good move and the only drawing move in the position, and that is king c1. He hides on the c1 square, and white doesn't have any more checks to give other than coming back to the h1 square. So this will lead to a draw by perpetual checks. Now instead of the move king c1, if black plays anything else, white is simply winning. If you all want, you can just play these positions on a board and check out all the variations. Now let's go to the final position of the quiz, and this is winning for white, and there are a variety of variations possible. I will be discussing just one of them. So if you do find a variation, a winning line that is different than mine, you can always type them out in the comment section below. I would love to see them. And let me just show you my line. So I see queen g2, and after a2 I have king d5. My king keeps coming closer, king c4, a1 queen, king b3, and there is an inevitable checkmate and white wins. You can let me know how much you scored in the comment section below. I would love to see your scores. And if you did like this video, please hit the like button. And if you would love to see more of such endgame videos, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.